Okay, hello everyone. As promised, I did promise you a couple of days ago. I think I was on here maybe like Tuesday, but I did promise that I would be back this week. I didn't give you a day, but I did tell you that I would be back sometime this week. And so, as promised, I am here. It is Friday, and I just wanted to continue on with what we were discussing on Tuesday, I believe, about forgiveness. So if you've noticed in the caption, it says the ouch. So yes, the ouch is back and the ouch has been remixed. Okay, so it's funny how God will we tend to do our own thing, but God will his will constantly be done in our lives. So just remember that God gonna have his way regardless. And so if that means he gotta bring you back to the place where he told you not to leave, then he'll do that. And he's done me like that quite often. So I am back with the ouch for now. And God has told me to get on today. He's been dealing with me with the subject matter as far as forgiveness. So the caption says, unforgiveness is not cute. It's really not, you know, and I mean that in every essence of the word cute, what we consider cute and what we consider, you know, right, because unforgiveness is not, it's not right. It does not please God in any way. But let's go ahead and talk about it for a little bit. And I did tell you on my last my last video that I plan to annoy you. I want you to probably get annoyed because, you know, it's something that's very dear to God, and it's something that we're dealing with, a lot of us. Even just because you love God and you know, you're saved and you're called, we still do, all of us deal with the subject matter of forgiving, you know, being forgiving and forgiving others. It's a hard thing to do. It really is. It's very challenging. It can be challenging, but it's still something that God requires us to do. So it's not optional. As I said on the last video, forgiveness is not something that's optional. It's something that God tells us that we must do. All of us have to do it. So it's not that any one person is exempt. No leaders, pastors, prophets, apostles, no one is exempt from being forgiven, because God, that's what God did for us. He forgave us when he didn't have to, but he sent his son to do just that. And so because of that, God tells us that we are to forgive, and if we forgive, then he forgives us, right? So the scripture that I'm going to come from is Ephesians 4:32, and it says, be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other just as in Christ God forgave you, right? So as you can see, God requires, it's a commandment. And I know people probably looking at me like, but you don't understand. I do. I'm dealing with it right now, you know, and I have been for years. Sometimes, you know, we tend to, things happen to us and we tend to suppress it because we know the things that God is calling us to do. So some of us know that right now, and we know the people, or we know the person. We know that God is telling us like, hey, you got to let it go. You got to forgive. I know they did you wrong. So I think we think sometimes that God doesn't understand, and he does. God understands everything. He does. There's nothing that he does not understand. God knows. And I believe it hurts God when we're done wrong. I believe that. I really do believe that. But it still does not make it right for us not to forgive others when they do us wrong. That's why God says vengeance is his. So we have to turn those things over to God. Even when we're done wrong, we pour our hearts out to God so that he knows and we're not holding it, but we have to get it right. We have to. There's just no way around it. There's no easy way to say it. It's just no way around it. And God says that with us, we tend to live in our feelings, right? So it's how we feel about it. And sometimes when we feel certain things, pride can get in that. You know, pride gets in. And child, when pride get in, with some of us, child, it's a wrap. When that pride come in, That's it right there. That's it right there. We don't even hear God. When pride, no. We not trying to do none of that. Because we gonna think to ourselves, God don't understand, God don't get it. He just don't understand how they betrayed me, how they lied to me. I trusted them. They came in, they stole from me. You know, some of us, and I'm just gonna keep it honest, some of us, I mean, we have parents who have lost children at the hands of somebody else. And I know, you know, you, especially if you feel your child wasn't in the wrong and they innocently lost their life at the hands of someone else, that's tough. That's tough. But God say, even in the midst of that, you have to forgive. You have to forgive. He can't move on your behalf if you're holding it. And then we'll be quick to say, oh, God gonna take care of it. How is he if you still holding unforgiveness in your heart? Because you holding unforgiveness, so that's telling God, I got it. That's really what that's saying to him. I got it. I know the best way to handle it. We even get upset, like, in a situation like that. Like I say, some of you all have maybe lost loved ones, lost your children, whomever, at the hands of someone else, and your family member didn't do nothing wrong. They innocently lost their lives at the hands of someone else. And then, to add insult to injury now, add insult to injury, the person who committed the crime, they go to the court. They go to the court now. They done committed murder. They on trial. And the judge only give them, look, the judge give them like 4 or 5 years, and then they out. And that's right. I don't think that's right. That would make me mad. That would burn me up. I done lost my loved one. Innocently. And the person who committed the crime, they get about 4 years. 4 years, about 4 years. And then they out. They out. Just like that. My loved one gone. I can't call them no more. I can't go visit them no more. I can't talk to them no more. None of that. If I go see them, I got to go see them at the grave. And the person who did it, they get about 4 years. And they out. Just like that. How fair is that? It's not. It's not. But even in that, God said you still got to forgive. You have to. In a situation like that, that's devastating. But God said you still have to forgive. You still have to forgive. And even in the midst of forgiving, you still can't. Now, sometimes we'll say we forgive a person. I said this on the last video. We'll say we forgive a person, right? But then when we see them, we still treat them nasty. We don't speak to them. They could be on their last leg. You can see them on the side of the road. And all you need to do, I mean, ain't nobody saying you got to go hang out with them. But say you see them on the side of the road and they got a flat tire. You'll ride by and call your friend or call your family member. You excited. You happy that you done saw them on the side of the road. Yeah, that's good for them. And then you'll put God in that. See what they get. That's not right. That's not right. That's not right. Maybe you could call, look, I'm not saying you got to go change the tire, but maybe you could call AAA. Maybe you could just ask who they need. Look, do you need me to call somebody for you? Because I could call somebody to come help you. God say, you're supposed to do the right thing. Even when your enemies do wrong to you, you still have an obligation, according to the Lord. You have an obligation to do the right thing. Is it easy? No, I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying that. I'm telling you to stay in good standing with God, to be pleasing in God's eyes. This is what He commands us to do as children of His. This is what He commands us to do. And so, like I said, sometimes we start to live in our feelings, right? Because we feel Yeah, we have feelings. God gave us emotions, right? He gave us that. But we can't always live in that. We can't. We still have to do what is right in the eyes of the Lord. Mind you, in the eyes of the Lord. Not in the eyes of other people. In the eyes of the Lord. God said we got to do right by him. That's what we have to do. What he commands us to do. And so, when we live in our feelings, what we're doing is, see, the world, God has already told us that we're in the world. We're in the world, but we're not of the world. So that means even though we're here, his children, we live here. But our mindset is not like that of the world. See, the world, God say the world has a tit for tat type of mentality. That's how the world think. They think like that. It's tit for tat. So that means if you do something to me, then I'm gonna do it to you, or I'm gonna get some get back. That's what we call it. Oh, I'm gonna get some get back. And so you plot and plan because they did something to you. But that's the way of the world. God say no, that's not how his children think. We can't think like that. That's a worldly mentality. And so when you do stuff like that, guess what? When you want to do harm to people, what does that do? It creates a cycle. So that don't mean, okay, a person that came to me, they come slap me. I didn't do nothing to them. Now my reaction gonna be to slap them back. That's what my reaction gonna be. I'm just telling you, my reaction gonna be to slap them back. It is. That's just being truthful. But I still gotta be forgiven. They slapped me for whatever reason. It wasn't cause for them to put their hands on me. Maybe I need to call the law. I don't need to slap them back though, because now I'm getting get back, right? And so that creates a cycle. It's not like when I get back, the other person who I done got get back on, they ain't gonna stop there. So then they gonna feel like, oh, you got the nerve to slap me? Oh, so now I'm finna take it up a notch. I'm about to do something else. And so the cycle just keeps on. It just goes on and on and on. They gonna come back at me, I'm gonna come back at them, and that's a worldly mentality. That's what God say. That's a worldly mentality. We don't think like that. We don't live like that. Not his children. We don't do that. And that's not saying God saying you don't have feelings. You do have feelings. But God gives us the ability for discipline too. So God gives us the ability to discipline ourselves. We have that. We have a spirit of restraint. We can restrain ourselves. We can ask God for strength. Now, we can't do it in our own strength, because I just told you, somebody hit me, my first reaction gonna be to hit them back. That's just reflex. But God gives us restraint. We can restrain ourselves. We can, with the strength and the help of God. We can't do it on our own. That's why every day we need God. We just can't say, oh, I just need God on the weekend, or I just need God when I get upset. No, we need God every day, every hour, every second, every minute. That's why when you get up, you make God your first priority. When you open your eyes, it's thank you, God. Thank you for this day. And then you go on to talk to him, to tell him what you need for the day, to help you endure the day. Because I'm telling you, some things gonna happen. Some things gonna happen to you that you're not gonna even expect to happen. It's just gonna come up. But see, if you done got that early start with God, and you done invited him in, because we have to invite him in every day. Every day we have to submit and surrender to God. We submit our will for his will. We have to do that every day. It's an everyday type of thing. It's not just once a month. Or it's not just, well, I know I'm saved and I'm going to heaven. No, you still in this fleshly body. So you still gonna need the strength of the Lord every day. Every day. Every day. And so that's what helps you throughout the day. You are aware of him. You submit and surrender to him. Because we can't do this on our own. We cannot live this life on our own. Regardless of what, people around you telling you, we cannot live this life on our own. We just can't. Not without God. It's not going to happen. And so God says, because we're in the world, we're not of the world. So we have to not depend on our feelings, because our feelings will mislead us, right? Anytime we involved in our feelings, it's gonna mislead us. And in Luke 6:32, this is what I want to tell you about. So in Luke 6:32, 6th chapter, 32nd verse, it says, if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. So that tells you right there, the world, sinners. So sinners are, that's pretty much the world, right? So the world has a certain mentality. A world is not going to tell you to forgive those that hurt you, forgive those that did something to you, forgive those that betrayed you, forgive those that's causing slander, that's trying to lie against you and lie against your character. The world is not going to tell you that. The world ain't going to tell you that. The world going to tell you, oh, they lied on you? I know they didn't tell no lie, and you lost your job. This is what you need to do. You need to do some research and find out. I'm talking about find out all the dirt you can find out about them. Because if you lost your job, guess what? They need to lose their job, their house, their car, and everything. That's what you gonna do. What does that? What credit is that to you? What credit? What good does that do you? To think like the world think. That don't profit us none. It don't. Not a child of God. Now maybe somebody in the world who not trying to live by the rules and regulations of God, who not trying to live to please God. Yeah, you know, who's not obedient to God. Yeah, that may serve them. Good luck on that. Cause then what that is, that mentality don't get you nowhere. It don't get you nowhere at all. It's gonna get you in a whole lot of trouble. That's what it's gonna do. So our best route, a child of God, our best thing we can do is do whatever God commands us to do. And if God tell us that we got to forgive, then that's just what we got to do. Because I thought, now listen to this. I want to paint like a visual in your mind, right? So say, for example, I said on my last video that when we do things that are opposing to God, meaning when we do those things that God has told us not to do. So since we're talking about forgiveness, right? God has told us not to be unforgiving. So anytime now, if we don't forgive, that means we're going against God. That's what that means. So the moment that we don't forgive and we hold it, we're going against God. So imagine, keep that in mind. So imagine you got a house. And usually, I know everybody that I know, we lock our doors. You know, because you don't want nobody to break in. We live in a world where people are breaking in. They'll steal your stuff. They'll do whatever they want to do. They'll break in while you in your house. They don't care. Some people will. But if you don't want a thief in your house, you say, well, I'm going to lock my door. At least I'm taking necessary precaution, right? To keep people that I don't want in, I'm trying to keep them out. Some people may get like a house alarm. But I'm taking the necessary precaution to protect myself and my family and keep whatever I don't want, I'm keeping them out, right? Well, what happens when you in the spirit realm, right? In the spirit realm. Now, legally, in the earthly realm, in the natural, we could probably call the police. Somebody come in our house, our door was locked. Somebody break in, we could call the police. Police will do an investigation. They'll try to find out who did it. And then if they find out who did it, guess what? You can press charges against whomever. And there's some consequences to them breaking in your house. Right? Because they didn't have no legal right to come in there. So now we look at the spirit realm, right? So in the spirit realm, the enemy, say somebody did something to you. I'll just say somebody did something to you that they shouldn't have done. And it was bad. We'll say it was really bad. They shouldn't have done it, but they did. So now you feel some kind of way. You is upset. And you don't want to forgive because they done hurt you. They done caused you a lot of pain. Probably caused you financial pain. You know, it's a lot that you went through because of what this person did to you. And you don't want to forgive. So you hold that, right? You done talked about it, everybody, all your family members, your friends, everybody, because you hot, you pissed off. So now you done talked about it till you can't talk about it no more. You blue in the face, red, yellow, purple, and everything else. You every color, because you just done talked about this thing so much, right? But you ain't forgiving. And you done expressed that out your mouth. You say, no, I'm not gonna forgive. That's what you say. So now you done spoke that. That's out in the atmosphere. You not forgiving. Now you holding that. It's just like, now when you hold that, the enemy, you know how you locked your door for the thief? In the natural realm, you locked your door. So that means he can't get in, right? Well, in the spirit realm, it's not like that. So just because your door locked, baby, that don't mean he don't have access. He can still come in. He can still come in because you holding unforgiveness. So now, look, he got free reign. He can come in. And so now, in your mind, because you don't understand that, you think you right because you didn't do nothing wrong to this person. They did something wrong to you, which is true. They did. But you did not give it to God. You didn't give it to God. You said out your mouth, oh, I ain't forgiving them. So that means you taking it into your own hands. You ain't give it to God. You done told God indirectly, I'm not forgiving them. I'm not doing nothing. No. So now you festering on that thing. And now the enemy, he enjoys that. Because see, he knows the law. He knows now you didn't have to give him no consent. You didn't have to say, no, devil, I don't want you in my house. He can come in. He can come in. So imagine somebody that's just like, say you got somebody in your house, right? This legally, I'm talking about naturally. You got somebody who came to visit you, right? They came to visit you. They say, hey, I just need somewhere to stay for maybe like about 4 or 5 days, right? So say you live in like an apartment. So you stay in an apartment, and in your lease agreement, the apartment tell you that they'll allow you to stay. Like if you have visitors or a company, they'll allow you to stay. Your company, they'll allow your guests to stay maybe like 14 days, right? With no, with no hassle, no nothing. They say, well, they can stay about 14 days. So this person, your friend, they come. Now, mind you, your friend plotting. They know they don't have nowhere to stay. They don't have nowhere to stay, but they're not telling you that. They're going to tell you they just need somewhere to stay for about 4 or 5 days, right? So you say, oh, okay, cool, come on in. So they come in. They come in, and now they stand. They stand. But their plan is to stay there long enough. See, you having a good time because, you ain't seen your friend in a while, so y'all catching up. Y'all doing whatever y'all need to do. And so they come in and they stay. But you don't know, behind your back, they going to the post office. They done already got your address. They using your address. They done already transferred everything. They getting they mailing stuff sent to your house. All of this, right? They doing all of this. So now, 5 days done passed. 8 days done passed. Look, 30 days done passed. They done been in your house. 30 days. 30 days. 5 days turned into 30. And now you tired of them being there. So now you tell them, you know what, this not working out. I'm gonna need you to leave. Do you not know they don't have to leave your house? They don't have to leave your house because they done established resident. I'm telling you what I know because I went through it. They don't have to leave your house. They have established residency in your home because now their mail and everything is getting sent to your house. So now you can't tell them to just leave. No. You can't do that because now they live there. So you can't just put them out. So now what you got to do, see, now you're going to have to spend some money out your pocket. So what you got to do, you're going to have to go to the courthouse now. You're going to have to evict them. You're going to have to evict them like how a landlord can evict you. You're going to have to evict them out of your house. And now that's going to cost you money. Money that you don't have. Because you got to file the paperwork and all that to get them out the house. You got to evict them. You can't just tell them to leave. They live there now. And so I say that to say this. That's how the enemy is. He don't have to leave your house. So you around here, you quoting scripture. Yeah, I'ma resist the devil and he gonna flee. No, he eating your snacks. He in your refrigerator. He drinking your juice. He sleeping in your bed. He on your sofa and on your couch when you get home from work. You tired. He ain't did nothing. He just chilling in your house. And you can't kick him out. Because guess what? You still have not gotten rid of that unforgiveness in your heart. I know you don't like it. I don't either. But that's just what it is. So now, he don't have to go nowhere. He don't have to go nowhere. You cannot kick him out just like that. And see, this is the thing. See, when we don't know certain things, that's why God say we can't be ignorant. See, we're ignorant, and ignorance is not a bad term. Some people get offended when you call them ignorant. Ignorant is just a matter of you not knowing. You don't know. And so when you don't know the ways of the devil or of the enemy. So you don't know the ins and outs of it. You don't know the ins and outs. You don't know God's character. You don't know the ins and outs of the spiritual realm because you're not in the word. So you're not studying to show yourself approved. You're not studying. You're not getting any understanding. See, when we start to read the word and we submit ourselves to God, God will give us revelation on what the word means and what he's telling us. So now, because you're walking in ignorance, which is not, I'm not using that term is not a bad term. It means you just don't know. You're not aware. So now you're walking in ignorance. And he just causing all kind of havoc in your life. And now all kind of stuff is happening. And you don't even understand what's going on. You're looking like, well, I done went to the doctor. Well, what is going on? How the heck? Oh Lord, how I got this condition in my stomach? I eat vegetables. I don't even drink soda. I drink water. I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat no meat. And I'm getting all these health issues. It never occurs to you that something as simple, because we look at it, something as simple as you holding unforgiveness in your heart is now causing all type of other problems and issues. The enemy is never going to play fair with you. The enemy is not going to come tell you. He's not going to tell you nothing that's going to help you. So the enemy is not going to tell you, oh, well, I'm in your house, right? Because, you gave me consent to come. I know you didn't verbally tell me, but your mama, you ain't forgave her yet. He not going to tell you that. He know, though. He know. The Bible tells us to give no place to the devil. We can't play no game with him. We can't give him no place at all. So that means like how we like to say in the natural, when you know better, you do better. So if you know that the right thing to do by God is to forgive, then that's what you have to do. That's what you have to do. You have to. And if you don't know, look, the thing about God, this is what I love about God. God is not no tyrant. God is so loving. He is. And we can trust him with everything that we have, with everything that we feel, with every thought we have. We can trust him with that. We can trust him with it. He's not going to feel like you tell him something. He's like, no. You can tell him your most dark, deepest secret. And that won't be his response. He won't respond like that. It's not like he don't know anyway. He wants to deliver you. Those things that are not of God, God wants to deliver you from them. God wants to help you through it. He does. He wants to help you. God wants the very best for you, regardless of how things happen in our lives. Now, some things are permitted. Some things God has to allow to happen, because that's going to shape and mold us into who he's calling us to be. But you still got to follow what God has said. That don't exempt us, because we in this training ground. That's a part of your training, teaching you how to forgive. God got to allow some things to happen to you to teach you how to forgive. And then, not only that, but God said you can't give him 50%. God is not a 50% type of God. You got to give him 100%. So what do I mean by that? So you can't just say, oh, well, yeah, Kanita, yeah, girl, I know you like, you came to my house and, stole some of my jewelry. That's okay. I mean, I forgive you. I'll talk to God, and people love to throw God in there because they trying to make you feel some kind of way because they throw God's name in there. So I talked to God. I mean, God told me I had to forgive you. So yeah, girl, we good. So I done told you, Kanita, we good. But then when I see Kanita a week later, Kanita relieved. You know what I'm saying? Because Kanita been suffering with that. She knows she came in and stole my jewelry. She knows she did that. So she been suffering with that, right? So now I see Kanita a week later, right? I done told Kanita we good. So of course she come out, she like, Drew, what's up? Hey. And I'm like, hey, girl. But I'm looking at you like, girl, I don't do you like that. And now she confused. But you just told me we was good. Now Kanita ain't asked me to go have lunch with her. That girl ain't asked me to go have dinner with her. All the girl was like, hey, she gave me a friendly smile. Hey. And I'm giving her the stank with, girl, I don't do you like that. What do you mean? God is not a 50% God. So just like, look, the Bible tells us, you can't even, look, in order for us to be saved, right? What the Bible say? The Bible say, if we confess with our, if we believe in our hearts and confess with our mouths, that God, that Jesus died on the cross, that God sent Jesus to die on the cross, and that he rose from the dead, then we shall be saved. That's what the Bible says, right? So that's a twofold. That ain't just 50%. He said you got to believe in your heart, 50%, and I got to confess with my mouth, 50%. 50 and 50 is 100. So that's 100%. So now I done told Kanita, I told her with my mouth, girl, we good. I told her that. 50%. 50% now. Hey, Kanita, girl, I know you did what you did. We good. I forgive you. I forgive you. But now next week, I'm treating her nasty. I don't do you like that. No. I still owe her another 50. And that other 50 that I owe her gotta come from my heart. I gotta sincerely mean that thing. Because if I sincerely mean that I forgave Kanita, guess what? My action gonna be different towards Kanita. Like I say, I ain't saying I ain't gotta go kick it with her every day. We ain't gotta go on vacation together. We ain't gotta go on no road trips together. But we can sincerely be good. I can really be good with Kanita. And guess what? If Kanita needs something from me, right? And I got it. That's the thing. If I got it, then I should be able to give it to her. Still, that don't mean we got to go on road trips together. We ain't got to go to, look, we ain't got to go to Brazil and kick it. God said if your enemy, if they won't, you got to be good to those that despitefully use you. If your enemy thirsty, you can't give them nothing to drink. You can't give them nothing to eat. They hungry. That's what God would do. Do you know the stuff that we do to God every day? Imagine if God took that same attitude. You know what? I'm so tired of her sonny. Man, I've been telling her sonny to pray to me 3 times a day, and this dude still refused to pray to me 3 times a day. You know what? I'm just gonna cut off his ear. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cut off his ear and see how he like that. I bet you he'll be running to pray to me then if I cut off his ear. Guess what? He won't be praying 3 times a day. I have his butt praying 20 times a day. Yeah. I got the power to do that. I'm gonna cut off his ear and see what he do. Wouldn't that be something if God did that? Because he can. He sure enough can. Yeah, mid-sentence, Hassani. Mid-sentence. Mid-sentence, you talking to somebody and he just cut your air off. You choking and everything. You can't breathe. And I don't care what kind of oxygen tank they give you. You won't get no oxygen. Because the one who's the provider and the supplier has cut it off. Like Duke Energy cutting your lights off. You ain't going to get it cut back on unless you do what he told you to do. So imagine. I'm just saying, imagine. That's the God we serve. God is very forgiving. God forgives us even though we holding unforgiveness inside of us. Come on. God say, no, we cannot. And that is, look, we might not want to believe it. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear this. God knows. I done had some things done to me in my life. I would not lie to you. I done had some things done to me in my life. And I would be lying to you if I told you that every time. No, a lot of days I wanted get back. I did. A lot of days I wanted to get some get back. A lot of days I didn't want to hear what God had to say. Because I didn't feel like God was fair. Because I'm looking at God like, I know you see what they did to me. And you still telling me I got to forgive them? No, I don't want to. But just because I responded like that, do you think that changed God's mind? That didn't change his word. God said his word is not going to come back void. Now, God is not going to spit nothing out of his mouth where he got to ever come back and take it back. No, it still stands. And if it stands for me, it stands for everyone else who's walking around out here on the earth. It stands for all of us. That's why I say forgiveness is not optional. It's a command. We all have to do it. And if we don't do it, there's consequences to us not doing it. Like I told you, the enemy just can come in your house. And you can't kick him out like that. You can't. And he know that. But the thing is, the enemy also know that you don't know. He knows some things you don't know. Because if you knew better, you would do better. So if you knew that that's a requirement to forgive, and you really understood, that's the thing. You got to understand. The Bible say with all our getting, we got to get understanding. So you got to understand the principle. You just can't speak out of your mouth. You got to understand how to apply that thing. Because if you know that, then you going to know time somebody do something to you, man. This thing hurt. And I'm finna confess this to God. God, this thing hurting me. This hurt me. But God, I need you to help me. God, I need you to help me because I know I got to forgive this person. I know I got to forgive them for what they did to me. And God, I'm telling you, I'm hurting so bad right now. I'm talking about crying your eyes out. You so hurt. And God understands that. But he still requires you to forgive. And like I just said, you can't do just 50% now. It's got to be 100%. And that's what get a lot of us. Because a lot of us, they say talk is cheap. And it really is. Because if you ain't put no action behind that, baby, it ain't nothing but talk. Because I just told you with Kanitha, I told her we was good. And we really wasn't. Because that next week I was treating her nasty. And you can't do that. You can't do that. Now I'm about to say something. I'm about to say something and then I'm going to get up off of here because I'm going to give y'all the weekend. Because this is what I'm about to put on you. Look, you going to need about 3 days. you gonna need about 3 days because I know when God put it on me, that thing had me crying for about 6 months. God say, look, y'all, don't shoot the messenger. I promise you, I understand totally. Because God got to say it to me first before I spit it out. So that means before I spit it out to you, God dealing with me first, right? So God, if God uses me, check this out. If God uses me as a vessel to correct, that means he got to correct me first. So that means I'm going through the fire first before y'all. I go through it first. So what I'm about to say, I'm still dealing with this thing. God told me one day, he said, and this had to be about 1.5 years ago. He said, will you forgive me? And so I'm looking, because I was driving at the time. I'm looking around, and I said, I know I just heard God. I said, what is he talking about? I say, God asking me to forgive him? He God. And so I say, oh, I'm finna rebuke that devil, because that's got to be, that's another voice talking to me. I ain't playing that kind of game. So God came back, right? He said it again. He said, will you forgive me? And I'm looking like, how on earth can God be asking me to forgive him? He's God. So as I got quiet, I said, well, God, I don't understand. I really don't understand. And so now, look, now I'm finna try to play God. We can't play God, but in my mind, I can play him. I'm finna play God. I say, well, God, I don't know what I need to forgive you for, because, I mean, you're God. And so God said, he said, but you still haven't forgiven me for some things that I allowed to happen in your life. And so he went to showing me the things that I have not forgiven him for. And this is what God said. And I remember I was riding in my car, and it hurt me so deep. God said, you are still holding something against me because of what I allowed to happen in your life. He said, but I know, and I know it hurt you. It hurt your feelings. But he said, I'm apologizing. This is what God said. He said, I'm apologizing for how it made you feel, but I'm not apologizing for what I did. There's a difference, y'all. God says, I'm apologizing for how it made you feel, because I know it hurt you for me to have to do that to you. But I'm not apologizing for what I did. So that was God saying, I did not make a mistake when I did those things. And when I allowed those things to happen in your life, I did not make a mistake. But I know it hurt you. And that's what I apologize for. So what I'm saying to each one of you all on this line, and for those that will tune in on a later date, some of you all are holding unforgiveness in your heart towards God. And you do not want to express it because it's God. But God say he knows that you're holding it. Some of y'all have lost loved ones, and you prayed to God. You asked him to allow them to live, and God didn't grant you that. And so because of that, now you holding God accountable. You is. And you holding some type of feeling against God because of what happened. God is saying to you that he still loves you on today. And I know, trust me, I know, if don't nobody else know, all the hurt and pain I done went through and still going through. So I know, and a lot of stuff, God didn't lie to me that day. But I had suppressed that thing because it's like he's God. But I still was holding something in my heart against him. But guess what? I wasn't telling God about that, but I was acting out on other people. But I'm going to church now. I'm going to church. I love the Lord. I love the Lord. I'm praising. I love the Lord, knowing that I got an attitude with God. In my private place, I don't want to talk to God. There were some moments when I told God, I don't want to talk to you. I went like 4 years of my life, and I told God, I said, God, I'm not going to pray. I don't want to talk to you. And guess what? I'm not going to go to your house. So I didn't go to church because I wanted to hurt him. Because I wanted to hurt God just like I was feeling hurt for what I felt like he had did and what I felt like he had allowed to happen. And I told him out of my mouth, how dare me? But I did. God could have took the breath out of my body right then. But God knew that I didn't understand. And he knew that feeling, that hurt and pain had set in. And so I wanted to hurt him. I did. Because I felt like, what kind of God would allow the stuff that I had been going through? How would he allow that? When I had been told that he's such a loving father, he's such a loving God. And he is. But God does not move based on my feelings. God said that he got a purpose for all of us. It's a purpose and a plan. A plan to prosper us and not harm us. Your feelings do not play a part in that scripture. It don't. Because some things God knows is going to hurt your feelings. It's going to hurt your feelings. But God is not a God that lives in the feeling. God has a plan for your life. And God said he ain't going to cause no harm to you. It's going to prosper you. He loves you too much. But God is not a God. Now, he's not going to spare the feeling. He's not going to spare. We got to understand the difference. That don't mean he don't love you because your feelings hurt right now. I had a guy. I dated this guy. I'm going to be transparent real quick. I dated this guy. And I dated him for years. And I could have swore, you know, that was going to be my husband, right? I could have swore, hands down. Couldn't nobody tell me nothing different. It was going to be my husband. In fact, before I married the guy, I'm acting like he already my husband. We bank accounts, everything. I'm just, you know, I'm like, okay, this is it, right? I done did all of this on my bank accounts, all of this. The guy comes one day. No, I'm not saying, you know, in our relationships, you have your ups and downs, right? But we had been together for a while. So the guy comes to me one day and he says, you know, I just want the very best for your life. This is how here's what he say. I just want the very best for your life, but this is not working out. So I'm thinking, you know, well, we'll get back together. You know, that's what happened in relationship. Break up to make up. That's what they say in the world, right? Break up to make up. So I'm thinking everything gonna be right. We'll be okay. Well, lo and behold, he never came back. So not too long after that, right, I noticed people was acting different towards me. Like the people who we knew, they was acting kind of funny, like they was walking on eggshells. And I'm like, well, what's going on? Why people acting like they acting kind of different? What's up with that? So it went on for a little bit. So one girl, I guess maybe God sent her my way, I don't know, but she said she was feeling, she felt bad, right? She felt bad because she knew what was going on behind scenes. She knew some stuff I did not know. So now she feel bad. So she comes to me one day. She said, hey, Drill, can I talk to you for a minute? I said, yeah, sure. So she helped me to confidence. She said, well, what I'm about to tell you, she said, please don't let nobody know that I'm telling you this because I'm not supposed to be saying anything. I said, no, you're good. You don't have to worry about that. I won't say nothing. She said, okay. She said, well, listen, I feel so bad. But she said, I just think you have every right to know. I said, what's up? Well, lo and behold, she tell me the guy that I was dating, the one that came and, you know, he said it wasn't working out. He wanted the best for me. He hadn't got married to somebody else. And child, I ain't talking about 2-3 years later he got married. No, broke up with me. And he probably was married within the next 30 days. You talking about heartbroken? You talking about heartbroken? My heart was broken. I was like, oh my God, what just happened? Not only was my heart broken, I was embarrassed. Because, you know, we had a little pride too. Because it ain't like people didn't know we was together. And I think other people thought we was going to get married too. So, you know, pride set in. And you better not come to me talking about forgive. The devil is a lie. Well, look, he was telling the truth that day because I sure didn't forgive and I didn't have no desire to. In fact, out of my mouth, this is what I said. I said, look, let me tell you one thing. When you see me, you better act like Dionne Warwick. Y'all know the singer Dionne Warwick. Dionne Warwick used to have a song that was called Walk On By. If you see me walking down the street, and I start to smile each time we meet, walk on by. That's what I told. I say, if you see me, walk on by like you don't know me. Act like you don't. From this day forward, don't say nothing to me. And I meant that. I will not look your way. I will look past you. And that's just what I did. And when I tell you that unforgiveness was eating me up, that stuff was eating me up. And at that time, I wasn't even nowhere near where I am with God now. I wasn't in a mindset of being submissive and surrendering. No, 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 no. It's going to be drill way or no way. And so every time I saw him, baby, don't talk to me. I'm talking about you could be right there in my ear. I'm not saying nothing. You do not exist for what you did. And that went on for a good minute. Until God had to soften my heart. I'm telling y'all the truth now. God had to soften my heart. And when God softened my heart, that's when I had to let it go. And do you not know, he became a good friend, like one of my best friends. He really did. Now, there's something else I'm going to tell you too. See, God, there's a reason, like I tell y'all, God is not a God of feelings, right? So God didn't operate in my feelings. God knew I was hurt. But see, I had to understand too that there was a purpose to that. So years later, right? Years later, when I came to a place of wanting to understand, when I was open to receive from God, because sometimes we can block God where God can't get nothing to us. But I was at a place now in my life, I had matured and I had truly forgiven him, that we had really became friends. Then God knew that he could trust me with the reason why he allowed it to happen. Because see, in my mind, I was thinking, oh, God didn't let it happen because we were so young. No, 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 no. That ain't what God said. Age had nothing to do with it. Because if God intends for you two people to be together, that's just what it is. If it's ordained by God, God ain't looking at the age. He looking at his will and what he's trying to join together. But what God told me, God said he allowed that to happen. He allowed it to happen, right? And I'm looking like, what kind of God is that? God, you would allow this man to marry somebody else when you knew my heart desire? But God said he had to send the block. That marriage was a block because then the marriage didn't even last. After about a couple of months, he was getting an annulment. But even with that, now see, when that happened, guess what? I was looking at, yeah, see, that's what God done stepped in, God done got him back. No, 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 no. That's not what was going on either. So God had to take me back to that place to help me understand what had happened. That wasn't something that God was ordaining. And that's not to say that he's not a good man. He is. But God ain't basing his decisions on a good man or a good woman. No, he basing his decision on what he joined together. Whatever God joins together, let no man put asunder. So it's whatever God joins together. That's why it's important for you to get before God and to understand totally. God ain't basing his decision off, well, you know, God, she a good woman. Well, you know, God, that's a good man. They very well could be. But God has already decided who he joining together. And so what God was telling me, it's not that we were young. Yeah, we were young. But God was showing me, no, that wasn't the plan. He got a plan for me. He got a plan for you. That wasn't a part of his plan. So what God had to do, because God knew he couldn't trust me to leave it alone. Because I hadn't made up my mind. Baby, we got bank accounts and everything. This thing going down. I don't care if he don't want to do it. We gonna do it. After I done spent all my years, we gonna do this thing. But God was like, no. That wasn't the plan. And because God couldn't trust me to let it go, because I was gonna linger, and that's the thing too. God can't always trust us to let stuff go. So then God got to send he got to send a block in that thing. Because that's what, it's gonna be God's will. It's gonna be his way or no way. Not your way. It's going to be his way. And that's what we got to get in our minds. It's going to be God's way. Not your way. Not my way. It's going to be God's way. And that's what we submit to. So God said that's not the plan he had for me. So he sent a block. And guess what? That girl was the block. He married somebody else. Because God knew once that happened. See, God knows us. He knows all of us. He created us. So God knows what you gonna do, when you gonna do it, how you gonna do it, when you gonna move. He know everything. He know your move before you make it. He know your move before the thought comes to your mind to tell you what move to take. He already know what move you gonna make. So God knew. God knew me. He knew once he do this, she ain't gonna go back to him. Once I send this block, she ain't going back to him. And I didn't. I didn't go back. I didn't go back. Especially when God helped me understand what was going on. Now, it was a couple of years later, God had to explain that to me. So, but that was a part of my training. That was a part of me being developed. Like I told y'all, we all in this training season, y'all. And it don't stop. All of us are at different levels. But it don't stop. That's why we got to remain faithful and obedient to God, because he knows the plan, and then he knows what's best. He do. In spite of what's happening, in spite of what will happen, because every day we walking on this earth, something gonna happen. And some things gonna happen that we not gonna be happy with. But it does not mean that it's not God. And it does not mean that God is not expecting some type of response from you. And if you don't give the right response, the enemy can come in. If it's anything opposing to God and his law and what he requires, the enemy can come in. He has consent. So some of us are giving consent to the enemy, and we looking crazy because we like, I ain't told the devil to come. Well, it's just like you told him to come in your house. If you walk around with all that unforgiveness in your heart, it's just like you told him to come on in and have your way. Whatever you want to do, you might as well serve him. Look, go ahead and serve. Give him, look, when you go home and he's sitting on your sofa, ask him what he wants for dinner. Because look, he ain't trying to leave. He ain't trying to leave, and he not going to leave until you do what you're supposed to do. So God say, that's the biggest point that God made. God says, some of y'all, you haven't verbally spoken it, but internally now in your heart, you are upset with God. You upset with God because some things God has done. Some things God, you thought you deserved and he didn't allow you to get it. Some things you prayed for. Just because you pray. See, that's why we have to pray. When we pray to God, we say, let your will be done. Right? But the problem with that is we don't really feel that way. Because we'll pray to God, oh God, let your will be done in my life. But we still want our will. So we thinking our will is God's will. No. His will may not be your will and what you want. So now you praying in vain. You telling him, God, let your will be done in my life. But that ain't really what you want. Because the minute he let his will be done in your life, because it may not be what you want, you got a problem with that. And you don't want to submit to that. And then you want to make everybody else believe that it's not of God. But you just ask God to let your will be done. Let his will be done. Y'all, listen. I'm telling you, man, the more and more I walk with God, I realize a lot that I've been through and a lot that I thought wasn't even the case. And I'm so thankful that I get to know God in another way. You have to establish and know God for yourself. And when we really commit to that, and we allow God, we have to open our hearts up to receive from God. Because that's how we gonna make it. That's how we gonna make it on this earth now. God know every crook and cranny, as the old folks say. He know everything. But we got to tap in, as some would say. We got to tap in. We got to make that our first priority. Not no job, not our friends, not our family. God has to be our first priority. Our first priority. We can go to God and ask him anything, big or small. It don't even matter. And we can go to God any time of the day. Day, night, it don't matter. We can go to him anytime we want to go to him. But we got to understand now, if we go to God and we ask God for his will, we got to be prepared for God to give us his will. It's his will, and his will is the best way. It's the best will. Because he already has a plan. We just got to submit to it. We have to submit to it. There's no other way besides your way, and I advise you not to go your way. I'm telling you, it's going to be failure down the road. If you go your way, this ain't no threat. This is a promise. It's going to be failure down the road. It is. It's going to be straight failure. You're going to straight have to turn back around and go to God. Every time. It's his will. It's his will. That's right, Hassani. It's his will. It's his will. So I want to encourage you on today. And I want to encourage you this weekend. I want to encourage you to get before God. Get before him. Some things, I'm talking about, some of you all have been holding unforgiveness for years. You probably didn't even forgot. You done forgot who did what to you. You don't even remember. Cause you just went on with your life. And that whole little thing we like to say, out of sight, out of mind, that's a lie. That's a lie. That stuff is still inside of you. Just cause you don't see the person that did something to you, that stuff is still inside of you. So it's not out of sight, out of mind. No, it's still there. It's not forgotten. And it's there festering. That's what it does. It's spreading. And then you talking about it. You still talking about it. They did this 10 years ago. And you still talking about it like they did it yesterday. You still talking about it. And that's another way how you know you haven't forgiven and you haven't gotten over it. I had somebody hurt me so bad, man. They hurt me so bad. And I'm talking about, I didn't want to have nothing else to do with them. I'm sitting in the movie theater. And I call myself watching a independent Christian film, right? I'm sitting in the movie theater. And mind you, I just told y'all, I'm talking, look, I'm spreading, I'm telling everybody I can tell about, look, the person who hurt me and what he did. I'm telling it. God stopped me dead in my tracks in the movie theater. He said, this is what he said, so profound. God, so profound. God say, you have to tell the story not to hurt him, but you have to tell the story to help others. Y'all get that? It's a difference. God say, stop telling the story. Stop telling your story to hurt him, but tell your story to help others. So I got an attitude with God. Because I said, God, you're making it sound like I'm lying. I'm not lying. That's what he did. God said, yes, he did do those things. He did. I was there. He did all of that. But you got to stop telling the story the way that you're telling it. You telling the story to hurt him. That's why you telling it. But you're not telling the story from a whole different perspective to help others. There's a difference. Because when you tell the story to help others now, your whole tone gonna change. You're not gonna be so rah-rah. You're not gonna be so, every time you tell the story, you're gonna be calm when you tell it. And then it's gonna be to help others, to educate others. That's what we do. We go through things to help others. Right? We don't keep that to ourselves. It's called testimony. So we have to help others. That's what we got to do. That's what God wants us to do. Because in helping others, right, we help others overcome by telling them what we've been through. So sometimes people don't have to experience. Sometimes people can just know. They can gain knowledge and stuff from what has happened to us. Yeah. But some of us, we get so nasty, see, and that's another thing with that unforgiveness. That unforgiveness will make you nasty. You don't want somebody else to go through what you went through. Oh yeah, I hope they go through the same thing. That ain't nice. Why would you want somebody to go through all the suffering you went through? If you can help them. That ain't nice. But we'll do that. And we'll say that. Sometimes we won't verbally say it. We'll say it in our heart. Oh, I hope they go through what I went through. And you'll know. You'll know something and won't even tell them. I'm telling y'all, that thing, look. God been dealing with me on that thing right there. And some of y'all been praying to God. And you probably blue in the face. You've been asking God for some things. You need some things. It's some things you need. You don't just want. You need God to answer. And God trying to deal with you about what's in your heart. And you don't want to hear that. Because you think God ignoring you on everything else. No, God trying to get you to, he trying to get you to that first step now. That first step. You got to forgive. And you holding some stuff and don't want to forgive. And those of us, look, those of us, I include myself, those of us who holding something against God, we don't like to talk about that. We don't like to talk about that. But that's the truth. Some of us are upset with God. We upset with him. I know I was for years. For years I was upset with God. I didn't want to have nothing to do with God. Because I didn't think he was very nice. And I didn't think he was very loving. But I went through that. And by the grace of God, I'm so thankful that I came out of that phase of my life. Because I could have lost my life. I could have died in unforgiveness and went straight to hell. Don't nobody want to hear that. Don't nobody want to hear that. But God is not a God of the sugarcoat. He not sugarcoating. That's what it is. So some of us need to be thankful that we still opening our eyes, because we still mad at somebody that did something 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and we won't let it go. And if you don't know how to let it go, just ask God. Ask him. Ask him how. Ask him how. Just ask him. That's what he's here for. He want to help you. God want to help us. He don't want to hurt us. He don't want to hurt us. God is not the enemy. Let's say that. God is not the enemy. And sometimes when things happen to us, we look at God like he the enemy. Like, how can he love us? I still go through that. I do. I really do. I really do go through that. And so I understand. Sometimes people will look at you and they'll just think, look, they just think, I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I was not. And then some people have told me like, oh, God just, it seems like God just pacify you. No, he don't. No, he don't. Look, if it was a camera in my house, I just don't look like, I don't look like what I done been through. You know what I'm saying? And I'm so thankful. God knows I'm thankful. God knows. Because if he was to show, look, if he was to repaint me and show like, and according to what I've gone through, I'll be looking a hot mess. A hot mess. Take her to the morgue because she got to be dead. That's what I'm saying. Take her to the morgue because she got to be dead. She got to be. She got to be. But I'm glad. I'm thankful though. I'm thankful that God is giving me an opportunity to get it right. You heard what I said. Get it right. That don't mean I've arrived yet. I'm still a work in progress, as they say. I am. But I want to get it right. That's the thing. I want to get it right. I don't want to keep living the same way. I don't want to keep feeling the same way. I don't want to think that God got favoritism, or God likes somebody else, or he loves somebody else more than he loves me. I don't want to think like that. Because sometimes the stuff around me now, I be like, well, goodness, God. Look, God, I'm around here doing everything you told me to do. And I can barely buy peanut butter and jelly at the grocery store. These people riding around in Bentleys. Are you serious? And then you get like that. God, are they even calling your name? God, are they even singing sweet love songs to you, Lord? They riding around in Bentleys. They ride around in Bentleys. And I got to figure out how to come up with $20 to put or take some gas in my car. And God, I'm talking to you every day. I'm on here talking to your people, God. I'm talking to your people. I didn't want to do that, Lord, but I'm on here talking to your people. And I can't get, God, I can't get 10 wing combo. I'm sorry, y'all. Look, I want me some wings so bad. Look, I want me some wings. It's Friday too. I want me some wings. But look, I'm just saying. I'm playing, but I'm not playing. I'm trying to get y'all to see something. Look, I'm serious now. I'm real serious. Y'all got to understand, this forgiveness thing is not optional. It's not optional. And this is not a topic that a lot of us want to hear or we want to talk about, because some of us have been deeply hurt. I admit, have been deeply hurt. Deeply. I'm talking about like some people that ended up in the grave, deeply hurt. And even with that, God says you still have to forgive. You still have to forgive. You know what? Do you think it was easy? Do you think it was easy for God to watch his son on that cross? I be thinking about that. Do you think that was easy for him to watch his son on that cross? And mind you, all kind of angels, they could have came from everywhere. They could have shut this earth down. They could have shut it down. But that wasn't the will of the Father. That wasn't the will. He had to watch his son. They killed him. Like I say, some people in the grave, they killed him. And what did the son say? Jesus, what the son said? He said, forgive them. Forgive them, Father. They don't know what they doing. They don't know. A lot of times we walking in ignorance. We don't know. So you got to show God show you mercy and grace every day. Some things we do, that's why when we sin against God, we don't even understand we sinning against him sometimes. But it had to be hard. It had to be difficult for God to sit there and watch what they did to his son. And his son didn't do nothing. Half of us done did everything somebody say we did. Everything ain't no lie. That's what the old folks used to tell me. Everything ain't no lie. And everybody ain't look, they used to say everything ain't no lie, and everybody ain't telling the same lie. Y'all heard that? Everything ain't no lie, and everybody ain't telling the same lie. He didn't do nothing. Jesus didn't do not one thing. Nothing. He was just being obedient to the Father. That was an assignment. He knew when he came here, that's what he had to do. That don't mean he wanted to. Some of us, we refuse to do what God telling us to do. Just please the Father. Submit. I promise you, through the hurt and pain, God already said those that suffer with him gonna reign with him. That's what he say. So we can't expect every day to be sunshine. We can't expect every day to be rain. It's a balance. God gotta be God in our lives. And we gotta allow him to be God in our lives. We have to. And so I want to encourage you, as I said earlier, I encourage you, especially those of us that are still holding something against God, not just people, not just other individuals, those of us that are holding something against God. God said he already know, and he's asking you the question today: will you forgive him? Will you forgive him? Forgive him for what has happened. Because God say he's sorry now. Check this out. God say he's sorry for the way it made you feel because it hurt you. But God is never sorry for what happened, for what he did, or for what he allowed to happen. Because that would mean, if he's sorry for that, that means that he made a mistake. And God don't make mistakes. But he hurts now when you hurt. He hurts when you hurt. So he's sorry for how it hurt you. He's sorry for how his decision may have hurt you. But he didn't make a wrong decision. He made a perfect decision, and that's just what he desired to do. He just understands that it hurt you. And so now God wants to know, can you forgive him for that? Forgive him for that. He didn't want you to hurt, but he knew that it would hurt. But that wasn't going to stop the plan. It's a bigger plan. And it's bigger than what you see with your physical eyes. It's bigger than what you see. Y'all get that? Hey, Apostle Reed. I thank y'all. I see Apostle Reed on here. Tiffany. I thank all y'all for joining. Her Sonny. I thank y'all. Apostle Reed, what you talking about? What she said? What did you love? God had a hand in because you are special. I promise God got it in you, but you must give it to him. Amen. Y'all read what Apostle Reed said? So I hope and pray that y'all are blessed on today. And I pray that I did the will of the Father. And I think he gonna have me come back. Because y'all know I hadn't been doing the ouch in a while. I probably been on I've been on what, sabbatical or vacation or something. No, I wasn't on vacation. Let me take that back. I was in class. Because God had me in class. I had to go train again, child. You know, God school, you can't get out. You don't just graduate like that. You got to take all kind of tests and stuff, and then he give you the same test. If you don't pass it, you got to take it again and again and again. That's just how he is. But, you know, I'm getting it. So now I'm back with the ouch. I don't know how long, but, you know, we just going to see what God has to say. We going to see what God has to say. And so I pray you all are well. And I pray, I'm telling you, that was on my heart heavy, with God saying, that was so touching, because I know he told me that one time. And so I share that with you, that there are some things that you are still holding God. You are upset and you're angry with him. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do it with anybody. But with God, you don't want to do that, right? He's too loving and he's too kind. And God is missing you. Because some of y'all then don't even want to talk to him. You ain't even talking to him no more like I was. You purposely not talking to him because you hurt. Don't do that. He still loves you. And he's still waiting. He's at the same place where you left him. Because he say he don't leave now. You leave. He don't leave. That's his word. He can't leave. So obviously if it was some leaving done, that's because you did it. So God said he the same place where you left him. Just go back and meet him there. And just pour out to him. Let him know. Let him know. You ain't got to hide nothing from him. I tell you, you ain't got to hide nothing from him. I had some willpower wows with God. And he still loved me the same. Just like a father. Still love me the same. It's funny because even God correction, you be like, oh, you just want to boo-hoo cry. Even when he correcting you. It's just the way he corrects you. Like, goodness. Is everything done with love and kindness, God? It is. But you know he mean business now. He mean business. When he start tapping on that butt, give you a spanking, you don't want them. Them things hurt. The spanking hurt. So look, I enjoyed y'all today. I thank y'all for coming in and joining me on today. And I pray that you all will have a lovely and great weekend. And if nothing else now, put God first. So even if it's just, I'm not saying you got to